Okay, let's set up an SSH server. That way you can create a terminal session from, say, a Windows machine connected to your Linux PC. First thing we're going to do, of course, is do an update just to make sure we're all set on that. So sudo apt-get update, and you got to type in your password. That's because you're acting as root at that point. Then we're going to do an install of a program called OpenSSH-server. So that's going to be the server program that will run in the background, the server daemon. And of course it'll ask you, do you want to continue when you're unpacking it and how much disk space will be used and so on. You say yes to that. Now, as an aside, I've got a program called nmap. I haven't got that installed yet. You can see that, so I'm going to go and install that. I'll explain what nmap will do as soon as we get it installed. Alright, we continue, we move on. Now, nmap is going to allow me to see what ports are open on the server. So I've got my IP address listed here. So nmap and that IP address. And what I'm going to see is it's got two ports open at the moment. Port 21 and port 22. That's because I've created the SSH program, but it by default is going to set up to port 22, and I'd already previously done the FTP program. Now I'm going to go in to a program called SSHD. The D, of course, means daemon .config, and that's in an SSH folder below the etc folder. Again, that's meant for root, so you got to use sudo before you put in nano. And I see in that config file that it's got a port 22 set up. That's the normal standard SSH port. Okay, many years ago I used to use Telnet, which was port 23. Now I use SSH. SSH stands for Secure Shell. So that's really what you're doing. The shell is the terminal program. So let's take that port 22 and change that, in this case, to a port above 1024. We're going to put it on port 10,822. We just added a 108 in front of the 22 for no apparent reason. We just needed some number there, and we left the 22 just for simplicity's sake. Now we go through there, system control restart, SSHD. SSHD, of course, is the daemon program. And at that point, when we do the nmap program, we see that only port 21 is open. Port 22 is no longer open. It still works, not port 22. SSH still works, but it's on a different port. So when I go through PuTTY and I put in my host name and then I switch my port, I'm going to change that port to port 10822. And then when I log in, I should have no problem with that.